It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Florida A&M women's head basketball coach, Coach Shalon Pillow. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to start college coaching?
Well, actually, that was not what I wanted to do at all. Once I finished playing basketball, my collegiate career, I had a couple opportunities to play professionally and overseas. And I was actually back in school so I could become a school teacher and maybe coach high school, but collegiate coaching was not in the cards for me. I definitely just wanted to have a quote unquote normal life once I was finished playing basketball.
What was it like going to the Tennesse University?
I played at the University of Tennesse under Pat Summitt, and it was just a blessing. There was less than 200 people, I believe, that got to play for Coach Summitt. So we're a rare breed, and it was a great experience. It wasn't easy by any means, but it definitely prepared me for life.
What was it like putting on the Orange Tennessee Volunteers basketball jersey?
It's an exciting thing, especially when you think about the history and all the players that came before you and the sacrifices and the past that they laid for us to be a Lady Vol. I mean, it's deep and it means a lot. The tradition and everything, it's a big deal to be able to put on that jersey.
What were some of your accomplishments during your career as the Lady Vols?
So funny enough, while I was at the University of Tennessee, I was there during a 7-year drought of us winning a national championship. So I was under the impression that I had a poor college career because all we did was win 4 SEC championships and go to 2 Final Fours. And now that I'm on this side of it, I understand that's a great accomplishment. So senior year, and then we didn't win another championship until Candace Parker got there, and they won 2 once she was arrived. So those are great accomplishments that we had for sure as a team at Tennessee.
Of course, coming out of Tennessee, what was it like getting into college coaching and getting your first job as a college coach?
So after I got done playing, I was in Ohio, and I worked for one of the biggest AAU underclassmen type camps and things like that. I was involved with Tom Jenkins, and he told me I was wasting my time. He said that you really have a talent. You could probably be a really good coach if you just decided that's what you wanted to do. So I got the opportunity to go to University of South Florida, and I got the director of basketball operations job there. And that was more so for me to fill out if I want to actually coach, or if I possibly want to go on the administrative route and stay in operation type situation. So I spent 1 year there at South Florida as the director of basketball operations. And then I got the opportunity and was promoted to assistant coach. And I really enjoyed the coaching aspect of it. And here we are 17 years later, and I'm still at it.
What was it like, obviously, when South Florida gave you your first opportunity to get into college athletics? What was that like?
It was great. It was a great learning tool to kind of learn the ins and outs of how a basketball program is ran. Like as a player, you just kind of show up when they tell you to show up. They say, be at the bus this time. and that's what you do. I wasn't aware of all of the moving parts and all the things that takes to prepare a team to play, and also just the organization that is needed to get your team from point A to point B logistically on road trips, practices. There's a lot of time and detail that go into it. So it was a great learning experience.
What was it like going to Hofstra to become the assistant coach?
Hofstra was a good opportunity because that was the first time I really had my own position. South Florida, my role wasn't, I didn't really have a guard group or a post group. So Hofstra gave me that experience. Also, I was a little more involved in the presenting of scouting reports. I did the video and film and things like that, but I didn't actually present per se at South Florida. So Hofstra gave me a good opportunity to have a little more ownership of what was going on.
Of course, how was it like going back into the SEC to obviously go to Kentucky to be the assistant coach?
I say that Kentucky was my biggest leap in my coaching career as far as knowing the demands and the time that's put in at a high level. Also, the prep, I mean, it's different. Like every level is different. So at Kentucky, at being a Power 5 and SEC, I had a lot less responsibility as far as the outside stuff of basketball, and was a lot more involved in the recruiting and the game prep and the basketball stuff, because we have such a great support staff and so many different people that can help you that you can really focus on the basketball recruiting part. I think that's where I learned how to scout teams. My scouting report skills got a lot better. Individual workouts is something I was always passionate about. I had more time to do that because we had such a great support staff. So that was a great time. That was a really good job to be able to help Matthew Mitchell as he built that program. And we went from being one of the bottom teams in the SEC to winning the SEC championship regular season, which is very difficult, and competing in the NCAA tournament year in and year out. So that was a great experience as well.
Of course, during your time at Kentucky, what was it like obviously getting to play your alma mater, Tennessee, with them being in the same conference?
It was really weird. It was strange, especially the first time we played them. We were at Tennessee. Now I've never seen a visiting locker room before. Like I came into the arena like this, I guess muscle memory is just go to the locker room, and it's like, wait, that's not my locker room. So being on the opposite bench was just very strange and weird. The competitive part of me, of course, wanted to beat Tennessee, and we did get the opportunity to beat Tennessee several times while I was at Kentucky, and I didn't feel bad about it by any means, but it was still just weird not being part of that. So I got used to it though. It only took me one time to get over the weirdness and get down to business. So
what was your time like at Middle Tennessee State?
Middle was a great opportunity because I got to coach under Rick Ensel, who is a legend in Tennessee for sure, starting in high school and also at Middle Tennessee State. But he's just known nationally. I can't even keep up with how many Hall of Fames he's in. He's in the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. He's in the Tennessee High School Basketball Hall of Fame. I mean, that's just a couple, but I mean, it's well over 7 Hall of Fames. A coach that's been in the game for years and has so much knowledge and just experience that I could feed off of. It was an amazing time at Middle Tennessee State. Just the city, the fans, everything. Middle Tennessee State was a good stop on my career as well.
Of course, going from Middle Tennessee State, what was it like getting your first head coaching job at Florida A&M?
That was interesting because it's always a hard transition going from one school to another because the systems and everything are different. But it's even tougher when you go from an assistant to taking over your own program. And let's add on the fact that it was during COVID. I got hired in June of 2020, during the COVID year. We end up not playing that season. So after being here over a year, I just got to coach my first game against Troy last week. So just being able to navigate having a new program and establishing your program during COVID was just something else. It was just a challenge, and it definitely made me a better coach immediately to have to be able to navigate and have everybody safe and in good positions.
Of course, as you talked about transitioning during COVID and stuff, what was that like for you? And what was it like, obviously, getting that first win this coming week?
Well, this is the COVID, it was hard because there was no one, there's no one you could talk to and get advice about, because we're all going through it for the very first time. No one that I know has ever coached during a pandemic. So that transition was something else and difficult. Also, being able to coach in my first game was great, just because I love the game, and it's been a year since I've been in that setting. And Troy had homecoming going on, so the crowd was amazing. That's not something that you usually get at every game. So just the atmosphere, just being back in my comfort zone, being back on the basketball court was just a great feeling. Still looking for that first win, but our team is good. We're working. We're going to get better each time we go out there. Just keeping in mind that most of my girls haven't played in over a year, at least a year. Some it's been 2 years since they played, and just us beating up on each other over the last year kind of gets old, and you know what your teammates are going to do, you know the plays. So to get out there against somebody else and like really see where we are and see what adjustments we need to make was good and exciting.
Of course, what was it like for you to take over that first seat on the bench and finally get that first seat?
I'm still working through it, really. This just because that first year was not a normal first year without coaching per se, like in game situations. I've heard this my whole career, that the higher up the ranks you get, the less basketball you're involved with, which I didn't understand till now. There's a lot that goes into running a program, and most of it is not even basketball related. So just being able to manage people, manage your time, make sure that you have everybody in the right place, that you're setting up your team to be most successful is something that is different. Like usually as an assistant, you have your area that you're over, you handle that. But as the head coach, you have to have your hands in everything and make sure everything is going well.
What is it like for you to obviously build up the women's basketball program for Florida A&M?
It's definitely a process. You're building it from ground zero. So the expectations, you have to lay those down. You have to hold people accountable. We go by what we call PACE, which is purpose, accountability, communication, and energy. That is what we're doing in order to build this program. Those are our staples in everything that we're doing. So it's just the new players learning me and my system and how I want things done. Everything has to be taught. If you want it a certain way, you have to teach people the way you want it done. And it takes a little more time than when you have something established that you just bring new people in, and the older people are able to teach younger people, but now you're teaching everyone everything. So it's a process, but that's why I'm here.
What are some of your future plans for the Florida A&M women's basketball program?
Well, short term is just get better every time we're on the court. It doesn't matter if it's practice, a game. Anytime we step on the court, we have to get better. We have to be focused in. We have to play hard. Long term is just continue to recruit, have good people, good kids, and just establish Florida A&M as a consistency in the SWAC conference, that we're not picked to be last or second to last, that we're picked in the top 8 and even the top 4. But that, again, is a process. And, Rome wasn't built in one day, and neither with FAMU women's basketball. So we're just going to keep on chipping away and getting better every day.
Who are some teams that you play in the SWAC conference?
Well, there's Jackson State, they're usually a pretty strong team. We've got a couple of teams in Texas. We've got Prairie View. We've got Texas Southern, Alabama A&M, Alabama State. Just a great pool of talent, a great conference to be part of, and challenging and competitive. And that's why we made the move. So we can be competing against the best day in and day out.
What's it like, obviously, on game day being head coach?
It's a little different. I feel like it's not much different than game day as an assistant, because the coaches that I worked under, specifically Coach Ensel, really has prepared as far as what it's like to be in front of the team. We presented our scouts in front of the team on game day in the locker room, so I was prepared for that. Game prep, definitely Coach Mitchell and Coach Ensel were able to teach me what that's like. So that part, the basketball part, is the more fun, and I'm not going to say easier part, but like something I'm more comfortable with is the game prep and the locker room and all that kind of stuff. It's the other things. It's the difficult part is, you talk about being in that first seat, like everything falls on you. The decisions, what we do. I mean, I have a great staff. I got great assistants, but you're the one that makes that final call. You're the one that makes those final decisions. So it's a little different. But again, I'll continue to get better with each game, just like I expect my players to get better with each game.
What is the recruitment process like for prospective student athletes looking to play college women's basketball?
It's a little different for everyone. The portal has definitely changed the horizon of what recruiting looks like. It's different on every level. For us, we just want the best available. We want good people, first off. It's very important that we have good people, people who represent the university well, represent the program in a positive way. And then, of course, good academics. Florida A&M has a high standard for academics, and we don't lower that for our student athletes. Someone that works hard, hustle plays, and wants to get better every day. That's the type of players that we are looking for. Now, if that's a high school player, that's what we'll go after. If it's a transfer, that's what we'll go after. If it's a JUCO, that's what we'll go after. We don't limit ourselves to where they are, who they are, or any of that kind of stuff. We just want the people who are the best fit for us.
Of course, for prospective student athletes, what does the official visit look like at Florida A&M?
Well, it's pretty standard everywhere. You get 48 hours to have an official visit. We usually link them up with another player that's their host, that's going to show them around and the ins and outs, meet the support staff, the people that are going to help them be successful once they get here, and just really get to know who your future teammates are going to be and get to spend more time. Some students bring their parents, some don't. Sometimes there's a football game or a basketball game, but we entertain them on that good stuff. But it's usually a good time just to show them what a day in the life of a FAMU women's basketball player looks like.
Of course, during the official visit, do they get to try on the orange and green jerseys to see if obviously they fit in at FMA?
Yeah, we usually allow them to try on a jersey and get a photo or two. And so when they get ready to commit to us, they have those and they can make their graphic or do whatever they have to announce that they're coming to Florida A&M.
Of course, as a head coach, what is it like to obviously see the future player wear the jerseys and see obviously if that's their home for the next 4 to 5 years?
It's all a part of it. We realize that we're not the only school that they're visiting. So it's about building relationships and seeing if they're a good fit. And usually if they're here on the official visit, we know that they're a good fit and we want them to be part of our program. So it's just building relationships and getting to know them, and them getting to know you. Is a two-way street. So you got to make sure as a prospective student athlete, that's a good fit for you. And we have to make sure you're a good fit for us.
What advice would you give prospective student athletes looking to play college women's basketball?
To get all the information, to make sure you're putting yourself in a good position, that you fit the style of play, that you have the academics necessary to succeed there, like you have the support, that you do your research. Don't get caught up in the name of the school or where the school's located. You just got to see what's best for you and what works best for you as an individual in your future.
What advice would you have college coaches looking to obviously get into the industry?
Talk to coaches, learn about the grind, learn about the ins and outs, and that would be your first step. A lot of people, their perspective of what it is to be a college coach and the reality don't always line up unless you've had that experience as like a GA or, in my case, the director of basketball operations. So talk to coaches to kind of figure out if that's something you really want to do. And once you get your opportunity, go all in. You know, you have to work hard. It's not always easy. It's not always fun, but that's anything worth having, you have to work for. And that's definitely the case in basketball and athletics in general. It's not a 9 to 5. It's not a 9 to 5 job. It's 24/7. You're always on call. So just realizing that and getting in there and trying to help your head coach and trying to help your girls is what's important.
What advice would you give college coaches that are entering their first year as head coach, just like you are?
I feel like I'm not equipped to answer that because I'm still figuring it out. Like technically, I feel like this is my first season still. Last year was more administrative, actually all administrative. But if you're already a head coach, I mean, you've done the work and you have the work ethic to get there and succeed. But I would say just for me personally, it's most important that my team is taken care of and they have a good college experience overall. And if you have them believe that and buy in, like everything else will kind of fall in place.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the Florida A&M women's basketball program at?
So Instagram is my favorite form of social media, and it is spillow322. You can find me there. You can find me on Facebook, and you can find me on Twitter at FAMU Coach Pillow. So, and same with it's FAMU women's basketball on all the outlets if you want to follow the team.
Thank you again, Coach Pillow, for your interview, and best of luck in your future as you begin your head coaching career as FNAM women's basketball coach.
All right. Thank you. Have a good one. Thank you for having me.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Pillow, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
All right. Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.